You thought it was punishment. You believed the weight crushing your chest was abandonment. Every night you whispered into the darkness, asking why the one who promised never to leave you had gone silent. The job you lost. The relationship that shattered. The dream that died in your hands like ashes. You called it betrayal, you named it curse. But I was there, in every tear that fell, in every sleepless night, in every moment you thought you couldn't survive another second. I was sculpting something magnificent from your breaking. What you labeled as your ending was actually your violent, beautiful beginning. The pain that nearly destroyed you was carrying the exact purpose you've been begging me for. Every closed door you mourned was protecting you from a path that would have left you empty. Every loss you couldn't understand was making space for a gain so profound it required your hands to be completely empty to receive it. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. You weren't being forgotten. You were being positioned, and tonight, right now, I'm about to show you why everything had to happen exactly as it did. The purpose you've been searching for has been forming inside your pain all along. Look at your hands right now. Those same hands that have wiped away tears of confusion. Those same hands that have trembled with fear when you couldn't see one step ahead. Those same hands that have been empty for so long, you forgot what it felt like to hold something valuable. I'm about to fill them with understanding that will change everything you thought you knew about your story. You didn't stumble into this message by accident. This isn't a coincidence. You've been asking me for answers, and I've been waiting for this exact moment to show you what I've really been doing while you thought I was distant. Can you feel it? That stirring in your spirit that brought you here tonight? That's recognition. Your soul knows this message was written in heaven before you ever typed those words into your search. You've been carrying questions that have exhausted you. Why did I have to go through that betrayal? Why did that opportunity slip away when I prayed so hard? Why did I have to lose what I loved most? Why has the path been so brutal when I've tried to follow you? I'm about to answer every single one of those questions. Not with religious phrases that sound nice but change nothing. With truth that will reconstruct how you see every painful moment you've endured. Because the pain you've been trying to escape has been the exact chisel I've been using to carve out the masterpiece of your destiny. And until you understand this, you'll keep resisting the very process that's creating your breakthrough. Here's what I need you to know before we go deeper. I've watched you from the beginning. I saw you in that hospital room. I heard you in that empty apartment. I felt your heart shatter when they walked away. I was there when you opened that rejection letter. When the money ran out, when the diagnosis came, when the friendship ended, when the business failed. I wasn't watching from a distance, unmoved. I was working in ways your natural eyes couldn't perceive, engineering a transformation so complete that when it's revealed, even your enemies will know it came from my hand. In the next moments together, I'm going to walk you through the hidden architecture of your pain. First, I'll show you why certain doors had to slam shut to protect the calling I placed on your life. Then, I'll reveal the specific purpose being built in the wilderness season you've been trapped in. Third, I'll expose the enemy's greatest lie about your suffering and replace it with the truth that sets you free. Fourth, I'll demonstrate how every loss has been creating capacity for unprecedented gain. Fifth, I'll unveil the transformation happening in you that you haven't been able to see. Sixth, I'll give you the key to accessing the breakthrough that's already been released. Seventh, I'll show you how to recognize my voice in the middle of chaos. And finally, I'll speak the word over your life that will shift everything starting tonight. But before we begin, I need something from you. Not because I need your validation, but because your participation activates what I'm about to release. If this message is already stirring something in your spirit, if you can feel that this moment is significant, I want you to do 3 things right now. First, subscribe to this channel. Not as a casual viewer, but as someone who is saying yes to hearing my voice regularly. Second, in the comments below, declare with boldness, "Lord, I am here. I subscribed because I love you and I want to hear you." Third, tell me what country and city you're watching from. I want to see how far this word is traveling tonight. And one more thing before we dive in, stay until the very end of this message. Because at the close, I'm going to whisper a specific word directly to your heart. A word that when you write it in the comments will unlock blessings that have been waiting for your obedience. This isn't manipulation. This is spiritual law. Your active participation in what I'm speaking releases what I'm preparing to give. So stay close, stay focused, because everything you've been through is about to make sense in a way that heals you while it empowers you. The closed doors were divine protection. You've been angry about the doors that closed. You've replayed those moments in your mind, wondering what you did wrong, how you failed, why I didn't come through when you needed me most. You stood at those doors and begged them to open. You fasted, you prayed, you believed, and they stayed locked, sealed, immovable. And in your heart, a question has been growing like a cancer. If God loves me, why did he let me lose that? Let me tell you what you couldn't see from where you were standing. Behind that door you wanted so desperately to walk through was a path that would have destroyed the very thing I've been building in you. That relationship you thought was your future. If it had continued, it would have pulled you so far from your purpose that you wouldn't have recognized yourself in 5 years. I saw who they were becoming. I saw the compromise that would have been required. I saw your gifts buried under their insecurities. I saw your calling suffocated by their control. And because I love you more than you love comfort, I closed that door with my own hand. Not to hurt you, but to save you from a life that looked good on the surface, but was hollow underneath. You were praying for me to make it work. I was protecting you from a connection that would have made you comfortable but cost you your destiny. That job that ended suddenly, that felt like betrayal, that left you financially vulnerable. Behind that door was a ceiling so low you would have spent the best years of your life hunched over, never fully standing in who I created you to be. You were focused on the paycheck. I was focused on the prison it was becoming. You were afraid of lack. I was clearing the way for abundance that required your time, your energy, your focus to be available for what I was preparing to bring. The loss you mourned was actually a liberation you didn't know you needed. And now on the other side you're starting to see it. The peace you have now compared to the stress you carried then. The time you have now to hear me compared to the exhaustion that drowned out my voice. The opportunities appearing now that never would have found you if you were still stuck behind that closed door. That dream you buried, that vision that died, that plan that collapsed. You thought it was the end of your purpose. It was actually the death of your limited version of it. What you were building in your own strength would have taken you somewhere, but not where I'm taking you. What you were creating with your own wisdom would have been good, but not great. What you were forcing to happen in your own timing would have worked, but it wouldn't have carried my glory. So I let it die. Not because it was bad, but because what I have for you is so much bigger that the old vision couldn't contain it. You had to lose your plan so you could receive mine. You had to release your grip on what you thought you wanted, so your hands would be open for what I know you need. I know it hurt. I know you felt abandoned. I know there were nights you questioned everything you thought you knew about me. But look at where you are now compared to where that door would have taken you. Look at what you've learned in the wilderness that you never would have discovered in the comfort of that season you were clinging to. Look at the strength you've developed, the faith you've built, the character you've forged. That closed door wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It wasn't punishment, it was protection. And every time you wanted to force it open, I was standing on the other side, holding it shut, whispering, "Trust me, what I have for you is worth the wait, worth the pain, worth the process." The doors that closed were my mercy disguising itself as disappointment, and the door I'm about to open will prove that everything you lost was only making room for everything you're about to gain. The resources that dried up were teaching you to depend on my provision instead of your position. The people who walked away were clearing your inner circle for those I'm sending who will actually celebrate your calling instead of competing with it. The comfort you lost was preparing you for the weight of glory you're about to carry. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Every closed door has been part of a divine strategy you're about to see with your own eyes. If this word is hitting your spirit right now, if you're starting to see your past differently, do something for me. Leave a like on this video. Not because I need the validation, but because your agreement activates the next level of revelation I'm about to release. And in the comments, I want you to answer this question. What closed door are you finally ready to thank me for? Share your testimony. Let others who are still grieving their closed doors see that there's purpose on the other side of their pain. And write these 2 words, divine protection. because that's what every closed door has been. Now let's go deeper into what I've been building while you've been breaking. The wilderness was your training ground. You thought the wilderness was punishment for something you did wrong. You thought the isolation meant I had forgotten you. You thought the silence meant I wasn't listening. You thought the waiting meant nothing was happening. But let me show you what was really taking place while you felt abandoned in that barren season. The wilderness has never been about what I'm taking from you. It's always been about what I'm building in you. And what's being built in the hidden place is always more valuable than what's displayed in the public space. Moses spent 40 years in a desert before I trusted him with my people, not because he wasn't ready after 5 years or 10 or 20, because the version of Moses who fled Egypt in fear could never lead a nation to freedom. The wilderness wasn't wasting his time. It was reconstructing his identity. It was stripping away his dependence on his position, his education, his royal connections, his human strength. When he finally stood before Pharaoh, he wasn't speaking from his own authority. He was speaking from mine. And that only happened because the wilderness had emptied him of himself, so I could fill him with my power. David was anointed king as a teenager, but didn't wear the crown until he was 30. The years between the anointing and the appointing weren't a mistake. They were mandatory. In the caves, running from Saul, feeling hunted and abandoned, David wasn't being forgotten. He was being forged. Every betrayal he survived in the wilderness taught him how to lead with mercy when he had power. Every tear he cried in isolation became a psalm that would minister to millions. Every moment he had to trust me when nothing made sense was building the kind of faith that would make him a man after my own heart. The crown was already his, but the character required to wear it had to be developed in the darkness where no one was watching. Joseph was 17 when I gave him the dream. He was 30 when he stepped into its fulfillment. 13 years of slavery, false accusation, imprisonment, and betrayal stood between the promise and the manifestation. You think that was delay? It was actually preparation. The boy who had the dream couldn't handle the palace. His arrogance would have destroyed him. His immaturity would have corrupted the calling. So I allowed the wilderness to do in him what comfort never could. The prison wasn't interrupting his purpose, it was perfecting it. And when he finally stood before Pharaoh, interpreting dreams and saving nations, he did it with a humility and wisdom that only the wilderness could produce. You've been in your wilderness, and you've hated every moment of it. The financial pressure that won't relent, the door that stays closed no matter how much you knock, the promise that seems to be fading instead of coming closer, the isolation that makes you wonder if anyone sees you or cares, the silence that makes you question if I'm even real. But here's what you haven't understood. The wilderness is where I separate who you are from what you do. It's where I strip away your dependence on people, position, money, status, validation, and comfort. It's where I teach you that your identity isn't tied to your circumstances. It's where I prove that my presence is enough even when nothing else is working. In the wilderness, you can't rely on your network because you don't have one. You can't depend on your resources because they've run dry. You can't lean on your reputation because no one knows your name. All you have is me, and that's exactly the point. Because when you step out of this season and into your purpose, you won't take credit for what I do through you. You won't trust in yourself more than you trust in me. You won't compromise the calling for comfort because you'll remember what it cost to get here. The wilderness doesn't just prepare you for blessing. It protects the blessing from destroying you. Every giant you're about to face has already been defeated in the wilderness. Every test of character you'll encounter in your calling has already been passed in the hidden place. Every temptation to give up that will come when you're walking in your purpose has already been overcome in the season when you wanted to quit, but chose to trust me instead. The wilderness wasn't wasted time. It was the most valuable season of your life because it's where I taught you that I am enough. And when you truly know that I am enough, there's no devil in hell that can stop what I'm about to do through you. So stop despising the wilderness. Stop cursing the waiting. Stop resenting the process. It's not your enemy. It's your training ground, and graduation is closer than you think. If this is speaking to your heart, if you're starting to see your wilderness differently, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And comment this phrase, training ground. Let me know you understand now what I've been doing. Now let's talk about the lie you've believed about your pain. And while we're here, let me speak something else into your spirit. You've been carrying this message in your heart, and now I want you to carry it into the world. There are people in your life, people you know and people you don't, who need to hear this word tonight. They're sitting in their own wilderness, believing the lie that I've abandoned them. They're staring at closed doors, convinced they did something wrong. They're drowning in pain, unable to see the purpose being formed, and you have the ability to reach them. Not with your own words, but with this message I've given you. Share this video. Send it to that friend who's struggling. Post it where people can find it. Because when you become a vessel of hope for someone else, you activate a flow of blessing in your own life that cannot be stopped. This is how my kingdom works. You freely received, now freely give. And if it's possible, if you feel that stirring in your spirit, if you want to be part of something bigger than yourself, contribute with love through the thanks button below this video. It doesn't matter the amount. What matters is the heart with which you give. For it is written, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Every seed you plant in faith becomes a harvest. I will multiply. I see what you do in secret, and I reward you openly. And those who contribute with a sincere heart, don't forget to leave your name and your city with your contribution, because on the first day of next month, in a unique and special video on the channel The Voice of God, your name will be remembered, mentioned in gratitude, and covered by divine blessings released in prayer. Each offering made in faith is a seed before me, and not one of them will I fail to multiply. I see in secret and reward in the open. Stay until the end of this message, because I still want to touch your heart with my voice. The lie about your suffering. There's a lie you've been believing, and it's been poisoning your perspective on everything you've endured. The lie sounds like this: if God really loved me, he wouldn't have let this happen. If God was really good, he would have prevented my pain. If God was really powerful, he would have stopped my suffering. This lie has turned your pain into evidence against me, instead of evidence of what I'm building through you. And tonight, I'm going to dismantle that lie completely, so it never has power over you again. The enemy wants you to believe that love means the absence of difficulty, that goodness means constant comfort, that power means I remove every obstacle from your path. But that's not love. That's enabling. That's not goodness. That's creating weakness. That's not power. That's robbing you of the strength that only comes through overcoming. If I removed every challenge from your life, you would never develop the character required for your calling. If I prevented every hardship, you would never discover the depth of your own faith. If I shielded you from every struggle, you would remain a spiritual infant incapable of handling the weight of what I want to give you. Here's the truth the enemy doesn't want you to understand. I didn't cause your pain, but I will use it. I didn't create your trauma, but I will redeem it. I didn't orchestrate your betrayal, but I will turn it into your testimony. There's a difference between what I allow and what I cause. I gave humanity free will, which means people can choose to hurt you. I created a world with natural consequences, which means actions have results. But nothing, absolutely nothing that happens to you catches me by surprise or falls outside my ability to transform it into purpose. Romans 8 verse 28 says that I work all things together for good for those who love me and are called according to my purpose. Notice it doesn't say all things are good, it says I work them together for good. The betrayal wasn't good, but I'm using it to teach you discernment. The loss wasn't good, but I'm using it to create hunger for what truly matters. The suffering wasn't good, but I'm using it to build compassion in you that will heal others. The pain you're carrying isn't proof that I don't love you. It's the raw material I'm using to construct your ministry, your message, your mission. Job lost everything: his children, his wealth, his health, his reputation. And in his suffering, even his friends told him it was his fault, that he must have sinned, that God was punishing him. But I never caused Job's suffering. The enemy came before me and asked permission to test him, and I allowed it because I knew something about Job that Job didn't know about himself yet. I knew his faith was deeper than his circumstances. I knew his worship wasn't dependent on his blessings. I knew that what the enemy meant for destruction would become the greatest testimony of trust in human history. And when it was over, when Job had walked through hell and refused to curse me, I restored everything double, not because he earned it, but because his faithfulness in the fire proved he could be trusted with more. You've been in your own fire, and you've been asking me why. Why this betrayal? Why this sickness? Why this financial collapse? Why this loneliness? Why this repeated disappointment? And here's my answer. Because on the other side of this fire is a version of you that's so refined, so purified, so powerful, that the enemy will regret ever touching you. What he meant to destroy you is becoming the very thing that launches you. The story he wanted to use to make you quit is becoming the testimony that sets millions free. The pain he intended to silence you is becoming the voice that cannot be ignored. Your suffering hasn't been random. It's been strategic. Not because I'm cruel, but because I'm wise. I see the end from the beginning. I know that the treasure I've placed in you can only be accessed through pressure. I know that the calling on your life requires a strength that can only be forged in fire. I know that the people you're going to reach will only trust you if they know you've been where they are. Your pain is giving you credentials you could never earn in comfort. Your struggle is writing a message that will resonate for generations. Stop believing the lie that pain means I don't love you. The cross proves otherwise. I allowed my own son to suffer the worst death imaginable, not because I didn't love him, but because I loved you. Pain isn't the absence of love. Sometimes it's the highest expression of it. Because love doesn't just want you happy in the moment. Love wants you whole for eternity. And sometimes the path to wholeness runs straight through the valley of the shadow of death. But even there, especially there, I am with you. If this is breaking chains off your mind right now, if you're realizing you've been believing a lie about me, I need you to do something. Like this video, so it reaches more people who need to hear this truth. And in the comments, answer this. What lie about God are you ready to reject today? And write these words. Truth sets free, because that's what's happening in your spirit right now. Now let's talk about what your losses have actually been creating. Every loss created capacity for greater gain. You think you're behind because of what you lost. You think you're disqualified because of what was taken. You think you're starting over from zero because of what ended. But that's not how my economy works. In my kingdom, loss isn't subtraction. It's multiplication in disguise. Every single thing you've lost has been making space for something greater than what you had. And until you understand this, you'll keep mourning what's gone instead of preparing for what's coming. When you lost that relationship, you didn't lose your future. You gained clarity. You gained boundaries. You gained the ability to recognize what real love looks like and what manipulation disguised as love feels like. That loss taught you things about yourself you never would have discovered in the comfort of that connection. It revealed your strength. It exposed your patterns. It forced you to confront wounds you were avoiding. And now on the other side, you're not the same person who entered that relationship. You're wiser, you're stronger, you're clearer about what you will and won't accept. That loss was making room for a love that won't require you to shrink. When you lost that money, that business, that financial stability, you didn't lose your provision. You lost your false sense of security. You were trusting in the wrong source. You were building on the wrong foundation. You were depending on what could be shaken instead of what cannot be shaken, and I allowed it to be removed so you would learn to trust me as your provider instead of trusting systems, people, or your own abilities. Now you know that I can make a way when there is no way. Now you know that I can open doors no man can shut. Now you know that your security isn't in your bank account, but in my faithfulness. That loss was creating capacity for wealth that doesn't come with the stress and fear that your old wealth carried. When you lost that position, that title, that platform, you didn't lose your purpose. You lost your attachment to external validation. You were deriving your identity from what you did instead of who you are in me. You were performing for applause instead of walking in authentic calling. You were building a reputation instead of building character. And I removed the stage so you could learn to be faithful in the secret place. Because what I'm preparing to give you is so much bigger than what you lost, that if I gave it to you before you learned this lesson, it would destroy you. Your new platform won't be about you. It will be about me working through you. And that's a level of anointing that requires a level of humility that only loss can teach. Every loss you've experienced has been emptying you, so I can fill you. You can't pour new wine into old wineskins. The old structures had to collapse. The old identities had to die. The old dependencies had to be severed. Not because I wanted you to suffer, but because I wanted you free. Free from the limitations of your old thinking. Free from the ceiling of your old networks. Free from the smallness of your old vision. What you had was good for that season, but it would have been a prison in this season. So I allowed the loss to liberate you even though it felt like destruction. Think about it. Every major breakthrough in your life came after a major breakdown. Every new beginning followed an ending you didn't want. Every promotion came after a demotion that made no sense. That's the pattern of my kingdom. Death before resurrection, wilderness before promised land, cross before crown, winter before spring. The seed has to die in the ground before it can multiply into a harvest. And you've been in the ground, feeling buried, feeling forgotten, feeling like nothing is happening. But you weren't being buried. You were being planted. And what's about to spring up from this season of loss will be so abundant that you'll finally understand why everything had to be taken away. I'm not saying the loss didn't hurt. I'm not minimizing your grief. I'm not telling you to pretend it was easy. I'm telling you that your pain had purpose. Your loss had a reason. Your emptiness was creating capacity. And the version of you that emerges from this season will be so different from the version that entered it that people won't recognize you. They'll see the gain. But only you and I will know what the loss cost. And that sacred knowledge will keep you humble when I exalt you. So stop looking at what you lost and start looking at what you're gaining. Stop counting what's gone and start preparing for what's coming. Stop grieving the old season and start positioning yourself for the new one, because I'm about to restore years the enemy stole. I'm about to return what was taken with interest. I'm about to fill every empty place with something better than what was there before. Your loss wasn't final, it was foundational. Now let's talk about the transformation you haven't been able to see. If this message is shifting something in your perspective, if you're starting to see your losses differently, hit that like button and share this with someone who's grieving what they lost. And comment, greater gain coming. Let me hear your faith rising, because what I'm about to show you next is going to blow your mind. The transformation you cannot yet see. You're frustrated because you don't see the change. You've been praying, fasting, believing, trusting, and from where you stand, nothing looks different. The same struggles, the same obstacles, the same waiting, and you're starting to wonder if anything is actually happening or if you're just wasting time believing for something that will never come. But here's what you need to understand. The most significant transformations happen beneath the surface long before they become visible above it. And right now, in this very moment, there's a metamorphosis taking place in you that your natural eyes cannot perceive, but your spirit knows is real. When a caterpillar enters the cocoon, it doesn't just grow wings and emerge. Inside that cocoon, there's a complete breakdown. The caterpillar literally dissolves. Its entire structure liquefies. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. It looks like death. It looks like the end. But inside, at a cellular level, an absolute miracle is occurring. The DNA that was always present but dormant is now activating. A creature that could only crawl is being reconstructed into a creature that will fly. And if you cut open the cocoon too early, trying to help because you don't see progress, you'll kill the butterfly. Because the struggle of emerging is what strengthens the wings. You're in the cocoon right now. And from your perspective, it feels like death. It feels like nothing is happening. It feels like you're trapped in darkness with no way out. But I'm telling you what you cannot see. You're not dying. You're transforming. Everything you were is being reconstructed into everything you're meant to become. The old identity is dissolving. The old limitations are breaking down. The old mindsets are being replaced. And when you emerge from this season, you won't just be a better version of who you were. You'll be someone entirely new, someone capable of things the old version of you could never accomplish. David didn't just get better at using a slingshot in the wilderness. His entire character was transformed. When he entered the wilderness, he was a shepherd boy concerned with his reputation. When he emerged, he was a warrior king concerned with God's glory. Saul spent years chasing him, trying to kill him, and David had multiple opportunities to take revenge. But he didn't, not because he was weak, but because the wilderness had transformed him into someone who trusted God's justice more than his own. That kind of character isn't taught in a classroom. It's forged in the fire of betrayal, injustice, and suffering. The David who killed Goliath couldn't have ruled a nation, but the David who emerged from the wilderness could. Paul spent 3 years in Arabia after his Damascus Road encounter. 3 years that aren't even detailed in Scripture. 3 years that looked like wasted time to anyone watching. But in that hidden season, everything Paul thought he knew was being undone and reconstructed. His theology was being transformed. His identity was being rebuilt. His mission was being clarified. And when he finally emerged, he wasn't just a converted Pharisee. He was an apostle who would write half the New Testament and plant churches that would change the world. The transformation that happened in the hidden place determined the impact he would have in the public space. You don't see it yet, but you're not the same person you were when this season started. The way you respond to disappointment has changed. The way you handle betrayal has matured. The way you worship in the middle of warfare has deepened. The way you trust when nothing makes sense has strengthened. These aren't small shifts. These are fundamental transformations that are preparing you for a level of responsibility and authority you've never carried before. You've been asking me to change your circumstances. I've been changing you. Because when I finally change your circumstances, I need to know you won't lose yourself in the blessing. The enemy wants you focused on what hasn't changed externally, so you miss what's changing internally. He wants you discouraged about the door that's still closed, so you don't notice the doors opening inside you. He wants you obsessing over the timeline, so you don't recognize the transformation. But I'm pulling back the veil right now. I'm giving you spiritual eyes to see what's really happening. You're not stuck, you're being rebuilt, you're not forgotten, you're being refined, you're not abandoned, you're being transformed into my image from glory to glory. Every trial you've endured has been removing something that didn't belong in your destiny. Every disappointment has been killing an expectation that was too small. Every delay has been developing patience that will keep you steady when I suddenly accelerate everything. Every tear has been watering seeds of compassion that will minister to thousands. Every lonely night has been teaching you that my presence is better than any crowd. Every unanswered prayer has been deepening your faith beyond what you could ask or imagine. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been random. Every single moment has been part of a transformation process that will blow your mind when you finally see the finished product. And here's what I need you to know. You're closer to emerging than you think. The struggle you're feeling right now, that's not evidence that nothing is happening. It's evidence that you're about to break through. The butterfly struggles most right before it breaks free from the cocoon. The hardest part of the labor is right before the birth. The darkest part of the night is right before dawn. What you're experiencing isn't the beginning of another long season. It's the final stretch before breakthrough. So don't you dare give up now. If this word is igniting hope in you again, if you're starting to believe that something really is happening even though you can't see it yet, I need you to share this message. Post it. Send it. Let others who are in their cocoon moment know they're not alone. And comment these words, transforming now, because that's what's happening in you this very second. Now let's talk about how to access what's already been released. The key to accessing your breakthrough. Your breakthrough has already been released in the spiritual realm. It's not something I'm going to do someday, if you pray hard enough or become good enough. It's something I've already done. The victory is already won. The provision is already prepared. The healing is already available. The door is already unlocked. But there's a gap between what's been released in heaven and what manifests in your reality. And that gap is crossed by one thing: your alignment. Not your perfection. Not your performance. Your alignment. You've been treating breakthrough like something you have to earn through perfect behavior or flawless faith. That's religion, not relationship. I'm not holding your breakthrough hostage until you get it right. I'm waiting for you to step into alignment with what I've already made available. Think of it like this. Electricity exists in your home all the time. The power is constantly available. But if you don't flip the switch, you'll sit in darkness convinced there's no power. The problem isn't the power. The problem is the connection. You have to align yourself with what's already present. Abraham received the promise of a son when he was 75 years old. But Isaac wasn't born until Abraham was 100. 25 years between promise and manifestation. Why? Because Abraham had to come into alignment with who God said he was before he could receive what God said he would have. God changed his name from Abram to Abraham, which means father of many nations. And every single day for years, Abraham had to introduce himself with that name despite having no children. He had to speak his identity before he saw his promise. That wasn't denial. That was alignment. He was closing the gap between heaven's declaration and earth's reality by agreeing with what God said more than what he saw. Your breakthrough is waiting for your agreement. It's waiting for you to stop speaking doubt and start declaring truth. It's waiting for you to stop rehearsing the problem and start proclaiming the promise. It's waiting for you to stop living like a victim and start walking like the overcomer I've already made you. Every time you speak defeat, you're misaligned. Every time you rehearse the trauma, you're out of sync. Every time you agree with limitation, you're blocking the flow of what I'm releasing. But here's what alignment looks like practically. It's worshiping before you see the victory. It's thanking me for what I've already done even though it hasn't manifested yet. It's praising in the middle of the battle because you know the outcome is already decided. It's speaking life over dead situations. It's calling things that are not as though they were, just like I do. It's walking by faith and not by sight. It's trusting my word over your feelings. It's obeying even when it doesn't make sense because you know I see what you don't. When the Israelites were trapped at the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army closing in, they panicked, they complained. They wished they'd stayed in slavery. They were completely out of alignment with what I'd promised them. But Moses said something that shifted everything. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. He aligned his faith with my promise, and the moment he lifted his staff in obedience, the sea split. The miracle was already decided, but it required alignment to manifest. Your obedience in the face of impossibility is the key that unlocks what I've already prepared. Joshua was told to march around Jericho for 7 days in silence, then shout, and the walls would fall. That made zero military sense. No strategy, no logic, just obedience. And on the 7th day, when they aligned their actions with my instructions, the walls collapsed. Not because their shout had power, but because their obedience released what I'd already decreed. Your breakthrough isn't waiting for you to figure out the strategy. It's waiting for you to follow the instruction. Stop waiting for everything to make sense before you obey. Stop waiting to feel ready before you move. Stop waiting for confirmation from people who don't have your calling. I've already spoken. I've already released. I've already provided. Now I need you to align yourself with what I've said by acting like it's true before you see it. That's not presumption. That's faith. And faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith isn't trying to convince me to release something. Your faith is agreeing with what I've already released and pulling it from the spiritual realm into the natural. Here's your action step. Stop agreeing with the enemy's narrative. Stop speaking like a victim. Stop declaring lack, defeat, or impossibility. From this moment forward, align your words with my word. Align your thoughts with my truth. Align your actions with my instructions. And watch how quickly what's been hovering over you in the spiritual realm crashes into your reality with force. If this is convicting you, if you realize you've been out of alignment, like this video and commit to changing your confession. And in the comments, write, I align with heaven. Let that be your declaration. Now let's talk about how to recognize my voice in chaos. Recognizing my voice in the chaos. You've been surrounded by noise, voices telling you to give up, voices replaying your failures, voices reminding you of your limitations, voices predicting your defeat, voices questioning my faithfulness. And in the middle of all that chaos, you've been struggling to hear me. You've been wondering if I'm even speaking anymore. You've been questioning whether that whisper in your spirit is really me or just your own wishful thinking. So let me teach you right now how to recognize my voice in the middle of the storm, because your ability to discern my voice will determine your ability to walk in your destiny. My voice will never contradict my word. That's the first filter. If what you're hearing goes against what I've already said in Scripture, it's not me. I don't change. My character is consistent. My promises are yes and amen. So when a thought tells you you're worthless, that's not me. I call you chosen, royal, holy, beloved. When a voice tells you to compromise your integrity for a shortcut, that's not me. I've already prepared a path that doesn't require you to sacrifice your character. When a feeling tells you I've abandoned you, that's not me. I've promised never to leave or forsake you. Learn my written word so deeply that any voice contradicting it is immediately identifiable as foreign. My voice brings peace even in the middle of chaos. Not the absence of conflict, but the presence of unexplainable calm. When the disciples were in the boat during the storm, terrified and convinced they were going to die, I was asleep in the back. Not because I didn't care, but because I had perfect peace in the middle of what looked like disaster. And when I spoke, the storm obeyed. My voice carries authority that creates peace. So when you hear something that produces panic, anxiety, fear, or dread, pause. That's not my voice. I may warn you. I may correct you. I may challenge you. But my voice doesn't torment you. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I come to give life and give it abundantly. If what you're hearing is stealing your peace, killing your hope, or destroying your faith, reject it. My voice will always call you higher, never lower. I don't speak to your past. I speak to your potential. I don't remind you of who you were. I call you into who you're becoming. When Peter was sinking in the water, I didn't say, "You failed again," just like I knew you would. I reached out my hand and pulled him up. When the woman caught in adultery was dragged before me, I didn't condemn her. I told her to go and sin no more. My voice doesn't hold you hostage to your history. My voice propels you into your destiny. So when you hear shame, condemnation, or accusations about your past, that's the enemy. When you hear hope, calling, purpose, and identity, that's me. My voice often comes as a gentle whisper, not a shout. When Elijah was running for his life, hiding in a cave, convinced he was the only one left who served me, I showed him something profound. There was a powerful wind that tore the mountains apart. I wasn't in the wind. There was an earthquake. I wasn't in the earthquake. There was a fire. I wasn't in the fire. Then there was a gentle whisper. And I was in the whisper. You've been waiting for the dramatic, the obvious, the loud, but I often speak in the quiet, in the stillness, in the subtle knowing that settles in your spirit when you stop striving and just sit with me. Stop expecting me to compete with the noise. Learn to quiet yourself enough to hear the whisper. My voice will confirm what I'm already doing in your life. You won't have to force it or manufacture it. It will resonate with the seeds I've already planted in your spirit. It will align with the doors I'm already opening. It will make sense of the path I've already been leading you down. When Samuel heard my voice as a boy, he didn't recognize it at first. But Eli helped him understand that the voice calling him was the same presence he'd been serving in the temple. My voice isn't random, it's progressive. It builds on what I've already revealed. So pay attention to the themes that keep emerging in your life, the scriptures that keep jumping out at you, the messages that keep finding you, the confirmations that keep showing up. That's me speaking through multiple channels to make sure you don't miss it. And here's something critical. My voice will always point you to Jesus, never to yourself. If what you're hearing is inflating your ego, making you feel superior, or positioning you as the hero of the story, that's not me. I'm not interested in building your kingdom. I'm building mine, and in my kingdom the greatest is the servant. The first shall be last. The way up is down. My voice will humble you while it empowers you. It will strip away pride while it builds genuine confidence. It will make you smaller in your own eyes while it enlarges your capacity to carry my glory. You've been hearing me more than you realize. That conviction you felt when you almost compromised, that was me. That sudden peace when you decided to trust me, that was me. That random thought to reach out to someone, and later you found out they desperately needed it, that was me. That scripture that wouldn't leave your mind all day, that was me. That dream that felt different from all the others, that was me. That knowing in your spirit that wouldn't go away no matter how much you tried to rationalize it, that was me. I've been speaking. You just didn't recognize my voice because you were expecting it to sound different. From this moment forward, tune your ear to my frequency. Spend time in my word so you know my character. Spend time in my presence so you recognize my voice. Spend time in silence so you can hear the whisper. And when you hear me, obey immediately. Delayed obedience is disobedience. And every time you obey what you hear, my voice becomes clearer the next time. You're training your spiritual ear through practice. So start practicing. I'm speaking to you right now through this message. Can you hear me? Can you feel me reaching through these words into your spirit? That stirring you feel. That's me confirming that this message was meant for you. Share this video if it's helping you learn to hear me better. And comment, I hear you now. Let me know you're tuning in. Because what I'm about to speak over your life next requires you to hear clearly. The word I'm speaking over your life tonight. This is the moment everything has been building toward. Every word you've heard up until now has been preparing your heart to receive what I'm about to speak directly over your life. Not a general blessing, not a generic promise, a specific word crafted in heaven for the exact season you're in right now. So quiet everything else. Let every distraction fall away. Open your spirit, because this is the word you've been waiting for. I'm releasing you from the burden of trying to figure everything out. You've been carrying the weight of needing to know the full plan, understand every step, see the entire path before you move. That weight was never yours to carry. I'm the one who knows the end from the beginning. I'm the one who has already gone before you and prepared the way. Your job isn't to know everything. Your job is to trust the one who does. So right now, I'm lifting that burden off your shoulders. Feel the release. Breathe deeper than you have in months. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to know the one who is the answer. I'm restoring what was stolen. The enemy thought he got away with something. He thought the damage was permanent. He thought you'd never recover. But he underestimated who your Father is. I'm a God of restoration. I'm a God of recompense. I'm a God who makes all things new. And I'm about to restore years the locust has eaten. I'm about to return what was taken with interest. I'm about to heal what was broken. I'm about to resurrect what died. The enemy meant it for evil, but I'm turning it for good. Watch me work. I'm opening a door that no man can shut. You've been knocking on doors that weren't meant for you and it's exhausted you. Stop. I'm about to open the right door, the one that aligns with your calling, the one that leads to your purpose, the one that requires my hand to open because it's too big for human effort. And when this door opens, you'll know beyond a shadow of doubt that it was me. No more striving, no more forcing, no more manipulation, just divine alignment, divine timing, divine favor. And when you walk through it, you'll wonder why you ever stressed about the doors that stayed closed. I'm accelerating your timeline. What you thought would take years is going to happen in months. What you thought was a distant dream is closer than you think. I've been working behind the scenes, arranging pieces you couldn't see, connecting dots you didn't know existed, positioning people you haven't met yet, and all of it is about to converge at once. You're going to look back at this year and be stunned at how much changed in how little time. Get ready for suddenly. Get ready for the unexpected. Get ready for me to move faster than you thought possible. I'm increasing your capacity. You've been asking for more, but you couldn't handle more with your current capacity. So I've been expanding you, stretching you, strengthening you, and now you're ready. Ready for the weight of the calling. Ready for the responsibility of the blessing. Ready for the influence I'm about to give you. You won't be overwhelmed by what's coming because I've prepared you for it. Every test you passed in the wilderness was building capacity for this moment. Now, receive it. I'm surrounding you with the right people. The isolation is ending. The loneliness is breaking. The season of doing it alone is over. I'm sending people who will celebrate you, not compete with you. People who will sharpen you, not dull you. People who will see your calling and protect it, not envy it and try to destroy it. Your tribe is coming, your team is forming, your spiritual family is being assembled, and when they arrive, you'll know they're from me because they'll feel like home. I'm granting you supernatural peace, not because your circumstances are perfect, but because my presence is sufficient. You're about to walk through situations that used to destroy your peace, and you're going to remain calm. You're about to face giants that used to terrify you, and you're going to stand firm. You're about to navigate chaos that used to overwhelm you, and you're going to move with wisdom and grace. Because the peace I'm giving you isn't dependent on external conditions. It's rooted in internal confidence that I'm with you and I'm for you. I'm releasing financial breakthrough, not so you can hoard it, but so you can be a conduit of blessing. I'm about to prove myself as Jehovah Jireh, your provider, in ways that leave no doubt. Unexpected checks, surprise opportunities, doors opening in the financial realm that have been closed for years, debts cancelled, needs met, overflow where there was barely enough. And as I bless you, you'll bless others. That's how my kingdom works. You've been faithful with little. Now watch what I do when I trust you with much. I'm giving you boldness. You've been timid for too long, playing small, hiding your light, scared of what people will think. But I didn't give you a spirit of fear. I gave you power, love, and a sound mind. So I'm removing the fear. I'm replacing it with holy boldness. You're about to speak up when you used to stay silent. You're about to step forward when you used to shrink back. You're about to take risks when you used to play it safe. And people are going to notice the shift. They're going to ask what changed. And you're going to tell them, I finally believed what God said about me. I'm marking you with my favor. Not because you're perfect, but because you're mine. And when my favor is on you, doors open that should stay closed. Opportunities come that you didn't apply for. People help you who have no logical reason to. Enemies become irrelevant. Obstacles move out of the way. And everyone watching will know that your success isn't because of your talent, your connections, or your strategy. It's because your God is with you. And that kind of favor can't be faked, bought, or earned. It can only be given. And I'm giving it to you now. This is your word. Receive it. Write it in your heart. Declare it over your life. And watch me perform everything I've spoken. If this word touched you, if you felt me speaking directly to you, leave a like on this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And in the comments, write the word that resonated most with your spirit. Was it restoration, acceleration, breakthrough, favor? Write it, declare it, and let me see your faith rising. You made it. You stayed until the end. And that wasn't by accident. Most people would have clicked away by now. But you didn't. You stayed because deep in your spirit, you knew this message was meant for you. You knew that if you pressed through to the end, something would shift. And I'm telling you right now, it already has. The moment you chose to keep listening, you activated something in the spiritual realm. Your faithfulness to hear me all the way through just unlocked a door that's been waiting for your obedience. Everything you've been through, every tear you've cried, every prayer you've whispered in the dark, every moment you wanted to give up but didn't, it all led to this moment. This message, this encounter, this shift. You're not the same person who started watching this video. Something broke off you. Something was released over you. Something was activated in you. And starting tonight, you're going to see evidence of it in your life. The closed doors you've been mourning, they were protecting you from paths that would have limited you. Thank me for them now, even if you don't fully understand yet. The wilderness season you've been enduring, it was training you for a level of authority and responsibility that required that exact preparation. Thank me for it now, even if it's not over yet. The pain you've been carrying, it was forming the message that's going to set countless others free. Thank me for it now, even if it still hurts. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Every single piece was necessary to bring you to this moment of readiness. And now that you're ready, watch what I do. Watch how doors start swinging open. Watch how provision shows up from unexpected sources. Watch how relationships shift. Watch how your mind clears. Watch how your strength returns. Watch how your joy comes back. Watch how your purpose becomes undeniable. Watch how the enemy that's been harassing you suddenly goes silent. Watch how I move on your behalf in ways that leave no doubt it was me. But here's what I need you to do. Don't go back to sleep spiritually. Don't let this moment of encounter become just another video you watched. Let it mark you. Let it change you. Let it launch you. Come back to this channel. This isn't a one-time message. This is a voice you need to hear regularly, a perspective you need to maintain, a truth you need to be reminded of as you walk out your breakthrough. Subscribe if you haven't already, not for the channel's sake, but for your own, because you need consistent spiritual nourishment, consistent encouragement, consistent truth speaking into your life. And go deeper. Don't just watch this one video and disappear. Explore the other messages on this channel. Each one is a different facet of my voice speaking to different parts of your journey. There's a playlist waiting for you. A next message that builds on what you just received. A continuation of this encounter. Your breakthrough isn't a single moment, it's a season. and you need to position yourself to receive everything I'm pouring out, not just one drop. Here's what's about to happen in your life. People are going to see the change and ask you what happened. Don't take credit. Point them to me. Share this video. Send it to that friend who's struggling. Post it where people who need hope can find it. Be a conduit of the blessing you just received. That's how you steward what I give you. That's how you multiply it. That's how you ensure the flow doesn't stop. What you freely received, freely give. And one more thing before we close. You're going to face tests in the coming days. Tests to see if you really believe what you just heard. Tests to see if you'll act on the word I spoke or go back to old patterns. Tests to see if you'll trust me when circumstances don't immediately reflect what I promised. Pass those tests. Stand firm. Speak the word I gave you out loud every day. Write it down. Declare it over your life. Don't let doubt talk you out of what faith secured. The enemy is going to try to steal this seed before it takes root. Don't let him. Guard what you receive tonight like your life depends on it. Because your breakthrough does. I see you, I know you, I love you, and I'm so proud of you for staying faithful through everything you've faced. You could have quit. You could have walked away. You could have given up on me. But you didn't. And because you didn't, you're about to see why I was worth trusting. You're about to see why the process was necessary. You're about to see why the pain had purpose. You're about to see me move in your life in ways that make up for every moment you felt alone. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a new chapter, a new season, a new level. And I'm walking into it with you. Not ahead of you where you have to catch up. Not behind you where you're on your own. Right beside you, leading you, guiding you, protecting you, providing for you, empowering you. And you're going to make it. Not just survive, but thrive. Not just endure, but overcome. Not just get through, but break through. I've already decided it. Now you just need to walk in it. Before you go, I need you to do something powerful, something that seals this moment, something that declares to heaven and earth that you received this word and you're acting on it. In the comments right now, write these words exactly as I give them to you. Don't paraphrase. Don't shorten. Write the full declaration. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Write it with boldness, write it with faith. Write it as a statement of who you are and what you're walking into. And when you write it, you're not just commenting. You're declaring. You're decreeing. You're activating the promise over your life. Go now with my blessing. Go with my favor. Go with my peace. Go with my power. Go with my presence. And go knowing that the best is yet to come. I love you.